we had a Nintendo Direct, as we've had the past couple years during E3, since they don't do their big stage press conference anymore. And you want to, Ian, give me your general thoughts and run through some of your favorites of the Nintendo Direct that we saw.
Yeah, so that was
recap.
the third press conference, but we're covering it first. The third of the big three: Microsoft, Sony, and Nintendo. And it started with the trailer for Daemon X Machina,
Machina.
yeah.
Machina.
Which is actually probably the game I'm looking forward to most coming out of E3. It's a mech game by, I believe, some of the developers of Armored Core.
Yeah.
The Armored Core series. And it's funny because for the past 3 years, I've been whining about how I want Armored Core 6 to come out. And From Software, the company that usually publishes and produces the Armored Core games, they've been putting out nothing but Dark Souls games, Bloodborne, and games similar to that. And they also announced a game that looks to be in that line this year. So when I had given up all hope, here comes a mech game for the Switch.
Cell shaded.
It looks fantastic.
Yeah.
So I'm excited for that.
I think cell shading could be overused at times. I think here it's interesting.
Well, and there's not a, the color palette's a little bit more limited too. So I think it looks. It's
a little more earthy.
Yeah, a lot of reds and blacks.
So it's not all this neons and yeah. Oh yeah, it looks fun, Ian. So this was sort of a surprise to people.
Yeah, and I mean, like I said, it was the first game shown, and the soundtrack is screaming loud metal, and it definitely started the Nintendo Direct off in a different direction than I think most people would have expected.
What's the dev studio?
Don't know which studio is actually doing it, but I know that the people behind it come from the Armored Core
Marvelous
series.
is on
Marvelous, that's right, yeah. So
and then it's using the Unreal Engine on the back here, and then First Studio, Marvelous and First Studio.
Marvelous has done stuff like the No More Heroes series.
So they obviously have a good relationship with Nintendo.
Yes, they've also done the Senran Kagura series and stuff like that.
It's just interesting that Nintendo would decide to have a third-party game start off their Direct.
Well,
doesn't usually happen.
Oh, it's something different.
Yeah,
it's a third-party game, which I think is probably important for them to show off.
Yeah, absolutely. It showed that, hey, we got a successful system a year in. Come on board, everyone. Come on board the Switch train. Not that they weren't, but I mean, yeah, that caught my attention because when I watched the entire Direct, but I missed this. It came on with the last 15 seconds. I'm like, I didn't know if I was watching the right stream.
Right.
Because I was like, what is this? It's not a Nintendo first-party game. I could tell. And I'm just like, what is this game? And that was striking to me, that they would start off with that. Here you go, people. Something unexpected. Go. That's cool.
Here's very loud, aggressive music and a bunch of shooting.
And with a bunch of robots.
There you go.
They don't have Mario hats on. There's not a peach pink robot.
There's no tie-in whatsoever.
There's no short toad robot running around. It's just here you go. Original property. Here you go. From someone else.
Super Mario Party actually looked fairly interesting, and I'm usually pretty down on the Mario Party games.
I'm not down on the Mario Party games. From my experience, I played. Which one did I play the most? Probably the one on the Wii. I played when I say the most, I played 5 times when I had it with people. So that's 10 years ago. Jesus Christ. I think this is going to be a hit just because, you know what? We got things that could act as board game little things to put on a fucking table. And they showed that at the craft brewery, which I thought was funny. I was like, wow, that's something I didn't think of that I should have. That you can simulate a board for what is really a board game video game.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, it looks...
And multiple ones, too, which we'll get into.
So, yeah, they show it being parts of a board, but also for the mini games, arranging a play field for the little tanks.
There was a little combat type of game where they linked them.
And then what I thought looked really good, the little baseball mini game. You had the two, you set the two up kickstand wise, so you could throw pitches on one side, and the other side was, so one side was the batter or the pitcher, and then the other side was the batter. I'm mostly interested in this just to see what sort of cool uses they'll get out of the Switch.
I love the idea of having sort of like these 2-on-2 team battle things going on in Mario Party, because
Yes.
traditionally it's every man, it's free for all.
No, a lot of times they would.
Oh, they would mix them up.
Yeah,
in there?
they'd mix it up to teams. So this isn't entirely unprecedented, but hopefully they'll get a lot. Yeah, because in Mario Party it would be sometimes 1 versus 3, 2 versus 2. Sometimes it would be free for all.
Okay.
It would just depend on the mini game.
But the focus on this with having the separate screens, I thought was unique.
Yeah, and I'm sure that it'll probably depend on which mode you're playing in. There's probably a docked mode and a single screen portable mode, but from what it looks like, it's really taking advantage of 2 Switches.
Yeah, I wouldn't picture them wanting to link up more than 2. I'd probably get nuts.
Yeah,
But just having 2 allows for a lot more. Like you said, like the 2-on-2, having your own screen for the pitching and batting thing. Like it's really interesting.
right.
And I don't know what tech they're using in order to like form their own board with 2 screens. That's really cool. I don't think anyone anticipated that when they announced the Switch. Being like, let's link up. Like they formed an L, but they were arguing in the video. Like, oh, well, we want to be able to see you. So they probably could have done a square or a long rectangle, but they did like this L shape by dragging their finger to the Switch. Like that's, wow. I'm trying to think of any other game you could probably use that with to that effect. With both of the screens that you have a shared view with someone else.
I've seen like iPhone apps that did it back in the day with like racing games and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, it could be very neat.
I think this is obviously Mario Party was going to come out. It comes out in every Nintendo system going back, but I'm more psyched for this than I thought. Being that I'm not a huge Mario Party person in general, I'm more psyched for this.
Yeah,
because of the tablet aspect of it.
I think I'm more excited about it now than I used to be. My friends and I will sit around and we'll play a lot of the like Jackbox games on PlayStation 4 or whatever.
Use your words from Bruno Floss.
Stuff like that. And now that we do that, something like Mario Party seems like, even though I've always kind of had an issue with how luck based it seems, it just seems like a game that I would actually get use out of now. Whereas I never did in the past. So.
This is a perfect game to go, travel with people like we would do at a convention with people. I'm hoping you probably wouldn't need 2. Would you be able to play with 2 tablets with one game?
No idea. I
don't see why you would need 2 if it's one game being played with 4 people. If it can know that the screen's just communicating with certain games.
Yeah, that I don't know. No clue.
The combat game's adorable.
Yeah.
Like turtle shell tanks.
Yep. I like that.
The mileage you can get out of the Mushroom Kingdom in every single game.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Now, continuing with the marketing, I tweeted out that, yes, I'm not sure you have to be a very attractive couple to play this. I don't know. But everyone in the promo was an attractive couple. They're like, oh, we're camping and we're at a craft brewery. And all I'm going to say is this. It wouldn't hurt. I know the Wii U was looked at as a kiddie console because the marketing was so directed towards children. But can we have some sort of balance back into the marketing? Where obviously, what the hell do I know? It's going to sell no matter what. I have not seen really a family focused on it even for like a nanosecond in most of these videos.
Kids are going to want it regardless.
I guess they're making sure that
they got to get the adult market.
They got to get that
it.
24 craft brew crowd. They got to get them. They got to get them playing. Yeah, this looks fun.
So they announced that Fortnite was coming out, and then announced that it was out 2 hours later.
And then that 2 million people downloaded it in a day.
In 24 hours.
Which was not a shock.
I've played a considerable amount of it.
I was going to download it last night. I fell asleep. I was going to play it, but I was like, you know what? I'll wait till I'm fresh.
Yeah. So, I mean, now that we are the official Fortnite podcast.
We are fast trend. We're becoming the Fortnite podcast du jour.
Du jour. The hottest Fortnite podcast. Spiciest Fortnite podcast.
We're going to change to the CU Fortnite cast is what it's going to be.
But no, it's been fun playing on the Switch. I just realized that for a lot of things, I just like playing things on a portable a lot more. It's nice to just lay on a couch and play something instead of sit there and stare at a big TV. It's been fun.
Yeah.
I was playing duos with Vonnie last night.
How is it aiming with the sticks?
It's fine.
It's fine. I mean, it's not gonna be as precise as a mouse, but it's gonna be
well,
fine.
I mean, I play third and first person shooters
Or
on
even
consoles a ton.
or even a Pro Pad. I think those Joy-Con sticks are. I mean, they get the job done. I think I need something a little sturdier.
I mean, I've used the Pro Con, whatever the fuck
Pro
it's called
controller?
too. I've used that as well. I mean, both work fine for me.
I'd be the person that would get a freaking mouse hooked up to my Switch somehow. Is there a way to do that, by the way? Is there a way to do that?
I don't think so, but I mean, maybe there will be at some point.
I'd be the guy with a mouse in my pocket going to someone. Yeah, okay, I'll just.
I mean,
click it on the desk.
it allows for crossplay, so you know, if you really wanted to play with people on the Switch and you wanted to use a mouse, you could just play on the PC.
That whole PS3 thing though, or excuse me, PS4 thing was weird though.
Well,
They locked the account.
yeah,
for
Sony's
PS4s.
that's
Sony's being weird.
That's pissed off so many people that I would be surprised if it holds. I mean,
So if you
I feel like Epic might step in and say something. There are people who have spent, and it would be easy to do so because the game's free to play, but costumes are not fucking cheap in that game if you want to do any sort of personalization to your character. I mean, there's people who have spent hundreds of dollars on their Fortnite account just to have it all locked up only to Sony.
So just give some background if people don't know what we're talking about. So your Fortnite account, they're not compatible between PS4 and Switch.
Not between PS4 and anything.
Oh, it's anything? Okay.
So Switch, Xbox, PC, Switch, Xbox, PC, and I think even mobile, all can play together.
Okay.
PS4 is closed. So basically, if you
create your account on PS4,
you cannot take that account to another system.
so you can't bring over your achievements and your costumes and your unlockables and your DLC and everything.
Well, there's no DLC, but
shit you bought.
Yeah,
that's what I mean.
Everything you buy is cosmetic, but yeah. So if you've spent $150 on costumes and you got and you bought a really rare costume or something like that, you can't take that to the Switch. And for a lot of people, that's very annoying. People who've been playing since it came out. Who have put a lot of money into or put a lot of time into the game, figured, hey, we're going to support the game, bought a couple costumes, and now they can't take, $50 or $100 or, in some cases a lot more than that worth of shit over to another platform that they'd want to play on.
That's kind of crappy.
Yeah, and that's not on Epic, that's on Sony.
Oh, it even says it on the message, or it's like, yeah, this isn't on us.
Yeah. So. We'll see what happens there.
I think on the Switch screen it said that. It's like, well, sorry about that.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you have to wait or just start a new account to play on your Switch. Then you're out all your goodies and shit that you overspent on probably. I can't say that because we love Fortnite now in here. We love
number one big fans.
Number one fans of Fortnite. we're gonna get that Twitch account going soon.
Overcooked 2 is coming out. I like the original Overcooked, so that should be fun. That's a co-op cooking game. Growing up in kitchens, it's almost a little tough to play Overcooked because
growing up in kitchens, it's tough to play the game.
Yeah. I mean, my first jobs for years were just kitchens, and
PTSD.
Yeah, no, it plays like it. It's like, okay, you go chop those vegetables. I'm gonna wash these dishes. You take the pot to the stove. I'll bring the vegetables over. Okay, now you serve the soup. It's a very good game, and the sequel looks to be very good. Killer Queen Black is something I'm very excited for. And you've played Killer Queen.
I played Killer Queen. I enjoyed Killer Queen.
So
that it's the big. Was it 6-player arcade or 8?
10.
It's 10.
Well, it's 10 if you have the 2-cabinet version, or I think it's 6 to 8 if it's just one
played
cabinet.
At least the 8-player. I played the giant one before, at least a few times.
I think it's 10 total.
And so that's a single screen game, and it's team based and
kind of like it's a action strategy game.
Yeah, there's multiple ways to win, right?
You have to fill up the hive with honey,
yeah.
Bite with berries. You have to get either have to get the hive full, get the snail back to the goal, or kill the queen 3 times, the opposing team's queen 3 times.
And you can kill the other players as you go and you respawn. It's kind of like Joustish with you go above and you kill them for the most part, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
and then now there's a pirate game version of that too that looked cool too.
Is there?
Yeah, there's one that if it's not the same company, it's a clone of it because it's the same setup. There's multiple ways to win, but there's like cannonballs that fire and the ship. Yeah. So it's like more than a reskin. But
I think Killer Queen Black would be a great fit for the Switch. And I'm excited for that.
Well, for local, it'd be a blast. But the characters are so small. You really need a TV. I can't. It'd be a lot harder. I mean, you can play it on that. It'd be harder to play it on the little Switch screen since they're tiny little guys. It's cute.
Hollow Knight looks good. I didn't know a whole lot about that one. Octopath Traveler has its new demo out today. I think that's going to. I don't play a lot of demos.
I fucking hate that name.
I don't play a lot of demos, but it looks great. I might start it. I think the current demo lets you play up to 3 hours. You can start with any of the characters.
Retro RPG.
And you can transfer your save data over. Comes out next month. I'm looking forward to it quite a bit. And
They say anything about Starlink on the Nintendo Direct?
they showed it. They basically just showed
Part of the sizzle reel.
They showed the R-Wing flying around.
Okay.
Yeah.
It wasn't really a focus like it was past Nintendo Directs because
No.
we're probably too far out.
I think they focused on that during the Ubisoft presentation, and I did not pay attention to the Ubisoft presentation.
Not think anyone did really, but in the sizzle reel they showed a bunch of stuff. Real quick, a Minecraft's finally coming out, Sushi Striker, Crash Insane trilogy, Dragon Ball Fighter Z.
I can't wait.
Splatoon 2 Octo expansion, Just Dance 2019, Wasteland 2, FIFA 18 and 19, Dark Souls Remastered, SNK Heroines, Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate, Wolfenstein 2 is coming out, Worlds End With You, Mega Man 11, and Mario Tennis Aces. So and there's a few missing out, but
there was one other game that they showed.
There's a lot of games coming out.
Really good.
There's a good mix of third-party games coming out here, which is good. There was nothing on Metroid Prime 4. It's probably way too far out. It's probably 2 years away. They're just starting to work on it. It's going to be a while.
Yeah, there's nothing on that. They did show a new Fire Emblem. That's 2019, spring 2019. That's going to be big. It's one that I'm actually interested in this time around. I can only get so interested in Fire Emblem. I like the gameplay, but the stories always seem convoluted. So when there's a new one on a new console, I always try to feel it out, and I feel like, okay, maybe I can jump in, because it always seems like a good place to maybe jump in and try to get back into it.
Okay.
But the gameplay is always a lot of fun. And then I was upset that there was no Animal Crossing. I was really bummed about that. That was probably my biggest disappointment.
Was that supposed to be?
Well, people have been waiting for a new Animal Crossing for a long time. I mean, the last main entry in the series was New Leaf on the 3DS probably 4 years ago.
Okay.
But I think with some of these things that are missing, like Metroid Prime 4, Animal Crossing, people forget that Nintendo does not do a traditional E3 conference. They don't need to release everything at once.
They're going to have another Direct in a few months.
And that's exactly where I was going. There's Directs all the time.
Which is, to me, better.
Right.
Because we're not going to go off on this too much, but at least with Nintendo, you kind of know where things are at with the games. For the most part, when they show a game and say it's coming out here, it's like, oh, okay, I have 8 months to get hyped up, or I'm ready to go. Like the Metroid Prime 4 thing was such a rarity, just to let you know, hey, we started working on this. Nintendo usually like to do that. Let you know we have shit to show you. This is when it's coming out. So I appreciate that they go like that versus showing shit with no gameplay footage. Yeah. Like other companies are now doing. Here's your 2-minute trailer that you can watch, but we don't know, it's coming out sometime.
Well, EA gave a release date for their new Star Wars Jedi something game and didn't even show anything. Like, no trailer.
Yeah, so I rather have Nintendo's approach. I rather not know about the game until I see that there's stuff that I could wrap my mind around. So knowing that a Star Wars game's coming out a year and a half from now, I have no idea what it looks like. Like, how am I supposed to get either not even excited? How am I even gonna have that in my brain this year? Like, what's the point of even telling me about it right now?
Right, because
why
you're gonna have to go through another E3 before it even comes out.
Yes, until I can see footage of it.
Yeah,
and gameplay.
The problem is with how people are trained to absorb the news, though. It does. When Nintendo, I was talking about this with someone at work the other day. When Nintendo releases information on a game, you usually can expect that game to be out within that year from its release date. Its announced
the
date.
only time where things were radically pushed back was with Breath of the Wild, but that was because they had to save it for the Switch.
Yeah.
Like it was apparent that we have to push this game back to make sure the Switch is a success. So that was understandable.
Sure.
I think to everyone.
But by not announcing stuff until it's just about ready to go, it does, I think, make people panic more with Nintendo because they don't have this far off idea. And Nintendo doesn't always revisit certain licenses. So, while everyone knows that a Elder Scrolls 6 was an inevitability at some point and someone announced it, they announced it at E3 this year.
You got a Vista trailer announcement thing.
Right. When Nintendo doesn't do stuff like that, when Nintendo doesn't say, hey, we're doing a new Metroid or something like that, then people, understandably, people do get a little nervous that they're not doing anything with that property anymore.
I can see with Metroid, them doing it, because the last time they announced something with Metroid was that stupid 3DS collection of games, and people were rightfully pissed off about that because it was so. They were like, "What is this?"
Well, don't forget the 3DS one that they announced during Treehouse last year that came out.
Oh, yeah, the remake.
Yeah,
but I mean, like, I'm talking about the one before that.
Yeah,
where they're like, "This was their big Metroid announcement." Was this
Federation Force?
Yeah, whatever that was, 3 years ago, 4 years, whatever that was. Like that was a joke. So Nintendo, I think, learned from that, and they're like, "Okay, next time we have something with Metroid, it's got to be significant. Like the remake was significant, but obviously Metroid Prime 4 people are going to be." Because the last the Metroid game that came out, what the hell was the last one that people weren't happy about?
The last one on consoles was Other M.
Is that the one people were upset about?
Yeah.
So they wanted a proper Metroid Prime game. So, all right. So that's all good and dandy. We got Mario Party, which I think is coming out this year. October.
Yeah.
I'm loving this September release thing going on. They're doing with these big titles. I like it.
Well, that's what we kind of predicted. They, at the last big Nintendo Direct 3-4 months ago, they announced stuff up until June and July, and now we're getting the stuff that'll come out in September, October, November.
Yeah, it's not the Wii U wasteland. They got lots of third-party stuff now that they can fill in these gaps.
And the big one, of course, is Smash Brothers, December 7th.